Yeah, we back now. I'm going to be talking about the recent shooting that happened down in Jacksonville. I'm sure you've heard of it by now, in case you haven't. Some young 20-something-year-old white dude went down to some Dollar General in Jacksonville and began opening fire on anybody that he saw that was black. I think he assassinated a black woman and two of our brothers, two black men. It's ironic because we have certain individuals on social media, certain factions online that want to push some make-believe agenda of separation, right? We're going to break down into individual pieces, into different groups, right? It's us versus them. But at the end of the day, when these real life events happen, none of that BS really matters. None of that really has any bearing on real life events, right? That provides no protection to you or me. We have certain individuals on social media pushing an agenda of us versus them. But at the end of the day, no matter how much you try to separate, we're still going to be seen as one people. Now, let's take a look at the names of the victims that were identified by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. We have Anot Laguerre, Gerald Gallion, and Angela Carr. Right? As you can see, Angela Carr was 52 years old, Anot Laguerre was 19 years old, and Gerald Gallion was 29 years old. Now, from what I can tell from the information I have, it seems that it was two African Americans, an African American woman, an African American man, and a young Haitian brother, 19 years old. It makes sense. You down in Florida, you going to the black part of town. It makes sense. An African American and a Haitian was chopped down. Now, let's dive into the article, man. Take a look up on the screen. The white gunman who deleted 3 black people in a racist attack at a Dollar General in Jacksonville on Saturday legally purchased 2 firearms earlier this year. The gunman, identified as 21-year-old Ryan Christopher Palmeter, bought a handgun in April and an AR-15 style rifle in June. He lived with his parents in nearby Orange Park and had no criminal arrest history, although he had been temporarily and voluntarily held under the Baker Act in 2017. The news conference came a day after Palmeter fatally shot 3 blacks at a Dollar General store in what authorities say was an anti-black hate crime. The Justice Department is investigating the shooting as a hate crime and an act of racially motivated violent extremism. The gunman used racial slurs left behind a racist screed and drew swastikas on his firearm, authorities said. He was armed with an AR-15 style rifle and a handgun and was wearing a tactical vest and blue latex gloves. Prior to the shooting, the gunman had been turned away from the campus of a nearby HBCU, Edward Waters University. There, he refused to identify himself to an on-campus security officer and was asked to leave. So it seems that the original target was an HBCU. He got turned away because he didn't have ID, so he went to the goddamn 99-cent store and just started blowing us away. Angela Carr was shot in her car. The store employee AJ Laguerre, 19, was shot as he tried to flee. And the customer, Gerald Gallion, 29, was shot as he entered the store. Now, listen, I'm going to just keep it all the way 100, man. I'm going to just keep it all the way 100. Things like these, this is what you call a low level, I don't want to call it an act of war, but yeah, it's kind of like a low level attack, right? It's kind of like a low level attack. You see, these guys right here that carry out these mass shootings, these are what you call the unsophisticated, low-level white supremacists. We've been talking about the high-level white supremacists on my channel. We've been talking about the international politics. We've been talking about governments dropping sanctions. We've been talking about governments mobilizing for war. That's what you call the high-level sophisticated white supremacists. These are the low-level white supremacists that, even though they have the same feelings, whether it's high-level or low-level, these guys are very low on the totem pole, very low on the hierarchy, kind of like crash dummies for, the white supremacist movement, things like that, right? But what they love to do is they try to make it seem like it's an isolated incident, even though these things happen like once a year, twice a year. It's been happening for a very long time. You hear these random mass shootings where some random young white dude leaves his white town. He comes from a white town. He goes to the black part of town, armed to the teeth, got, bulletproof vest on, ready for war, and he just starts laying shit down. And in today's video, I want to talk about the culture behind that, because as you can see, these attacks kind of take on it's like a similar ritual each time. The guy leaves behind a manifesto. The guy, he claims that he hates black people. The guy, he writes all this crap on his goddamn weapon, things like that. You got to understand, in this subculture, these guys are seen as martyrs. These guys are seen as, yeah, that's the best way to describe it. These guys are seen as martyrs in that little subculture where they come from. And the reason why black people as a whole, we don't really address this is because we have a habit of giving white folks the benefit of the doubt, right? Like I told you, we tend to look at the best of white folks and use that as the representative, whereas we live in a society that looks at the worst of black folks and use that as a representative. So even when these things happen, we still always look at it like that's the exception to the rule, man. White folks, man, they don't got nothing against us. We live in a colorblind society. Everybody holding hands. But guess what? This dude was born in 2001. He's not some old dude from the, Jim Crow. No, he's a young dude born in 2001, right? So we may think we live in a colorblind society. Black folks, they desire to live in a colorblind society, but that's not the reality. That's not the reality, okay? It's not the reality, man. Now you may ask, how could a young white dude born in 2001 have any animosity or hatred towards black folks? And in my opinion, just my opinion, this is family tradition, bro. This is family tradition. You see this dude right here? He's probably, one of them, real deal Americans. Probably trace his lineage back to, the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, the founding of this nation, things like that. He's one of them, them old throwbacks from the Confederates, the descendants of the Confederates. You think the Confederates and those people who thought along that ideology, you think they didn't have kids, man? You think they didn't reproduce and have kids and pass down those ideologies down to the kids, their father, their grandfather? Bro, I'm telling you right now, the same way I admire my father and my grandfather, and I picked up a lot of their mentality and how they see the world because of how they indoctrinated me. You don't think that on the other side, you don't think these white dudes are not being indoctrinated from their fathers, their uncles, their grandfathers? I remember when Obama was elected, bro. I was in the 8th grade when Obama was elected, bro. I was like, 13 years old back when Obama was elected. And you had young white kids, 12, 13 years old, that was pissed off that Obama was elected, bro. Now, what would a 12, 13-year-old be pissed off about Obama's election? Probably because he seen his dad was pissed off about Obama's election. Probably seen his uncle and his granddaddy was pissed off about Obama's election. And children, they emulate what they see the adults doing around them, right? So you pick up on what your elders and your mentors are talking about and how they see the world. That shit has an effect on you. So these ideologies, they'll never die because it's part of the cultural fabric of the country. And I think especially with movements like Black Lives Matter and things like that, I think a lot of these young dudes were radicalized and emboldened because a lot of these young white dudes, they feel like they're under attack, right? They feel like, oh, the world is against us. The liberals are attacking us. These dudes, this like civil war amongst the Republicans and the Democrats and the liberals and the conservatives. They got their like internal beefing that, they're like at war with the liberals and the blacks and the minorities and things like that. So a lot of these young white dudes are, they're very emboldened. They're very emboldened. Okay. It may be black people trying to live in this colorblind society, but I'm telling you right now, I remember what they used to say? They used to say that as soon as all the old white folks die off, then we can finally live in a colorblind society. We can finally hold hands together because it's the old white folks that's holding us back. The old throwbacks from Jim Crow. No. You have young white dudes born in 2001, 2002, 2003, and I'm telling you, the racism they got in their heart, that shit is, listen, I'm telling you, that shit is like from 1915. So yeah, I'm telling you right now, no, forget that. Remember they used to say as soon as the old folks die off, everything is gonna be okay. No, they lied to you, bro, because the old folks indoctrinated the young folks and passed down the traditions and the mentality down to the new generation. It is what it is, man. I'm telling you, it is what it is. Now, as you can see, when this dude went on the attack, he did not differentiate between Black Americans, African Americans, Haitians, Jamaicans, whoever it could be. Trinidadians, Africans, whatever. He just said, listen, he's targeting blacks. It don't matter where you at. He gunned down a young Haitian brother, 19 years old. Gunned down an African American woman, 52 years old. Gunned down an African American brother, 29 years old. It didn't matter where you was from. You was getting a bullet in his mind. That's how he approached it. That's the reality of the matter. So it really makes you wonder, all these movements online talking about separation and delineation and all this bullshit. How come it doesn't provide any protection or any force field around you when the white supremacists come around and get to dumping? How come when the white supremacists come around and get to shooting, none of that bullshit provides any protection for you or me? So at the end of the day, I know Jason Black, he gonna have a broadcast talking about it tonight. Tariq Nasheed most definitely gonna have a broadcast talking about it tonight. And I might be in tune. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see what they say about it, because I want them to keep that same energy. Don't get under kumbaya, we all black, the white supremacists. No, keep that same energy of separation. I want to see if they keep that same energy of separation. I'm gonna tune into their broadcast tonight. I'm gonna see what's up, man. If they on some kumbaya shit, kumbaya, we all black, the white supremacists attack. No, listen, I want them to keep the same energy. So they better not be on no kumbaya type shit. I want them to keep the same energy of separation, delineation, us versus them, things like that. You wanna push an agenda of us versus them? Okay, well, the white supremacist came through. He put bullets in both of our brains. Now what? So anyways, I'm looking forward to what, them dudes got to say tonight. I'm gonna be in the goddamn chat room. Anyways, it's your boy Never Card. That's the lane back in the building. Yes, indeed. Cash App up on the screen, and I'm gone. Peace.
Reincarnated, I'm back in original fashion. I left on a horse and came back in the ass, and I left with abundance and came back to famine. We used to be pyramids, now we be rapping. Look how the mighty have fallen. Used to be running, now we be walking. When you be cooning, that's when they applauded. Selling your soul, your sons and your daughter. Gotta come up in this shit, they stuck in the mix. Really, my heart it be breaking. That's why I'm stacking that paper and handle my business. Pass it down a generation. Talking about money and power and building a nation. That's a deadly combination. Never be watching the TV, they pushing agendas, falsifying information. Know they got malice intentions. Step in the room and I'm feeling the tension. Enemy watching, he blocking my vision. Get for the check cause I need my redemption. Building my kingdom, I need it protected. Ready for war like a young Money Congo. Never decided the team is the motto. Up in the crib and I'm whipping up waffles. Up in the crib and I'm smoking gelato. I'm chilling, I'm taking my pain and make it ambition. I'm blessed by the gods, but I ain't religious. I came for the power, they came for the bitch. They making no hour, they wage. I got business, this shit is an art, and they could never be taught. Selling my soul, I can never be bought. Play with my money, I see you ain't caught. Run to the check and I do it for sport. Babylon falling, I go to the source. Packing my luggage and go overseas. Shorty be with me and she so elite. Shorty be chocolate, I'm calling her Hershey. Secret intelligence probably gon' murk me. Don't fuck with friends, cause nigga I'm Haitian. Say the wrong shit and get smack in their faces.